Hi everyone! Thank you for joining my first class. My name is Dana of Makeup Artistry by Dana, and today we are going to be doing a everyday makeup look that you can just quickly do in the morning and help you feel better throughout your day. My beautiful sister Kylie is going to be our model today, and we're going to start with skincare and then go right into the makeup, and let's get started. Okay, so the first step I'm going to be putting on Kylie is a face serum. She is a little on the drier side, so a serum is going to create a little bit more hydration for her. It's going to bind the moisture to her skin, so we're going to start with that first. I usually go right in with my hands for a serum, and you can kind of start in the T-zone and then just move it throughout the cheeks. And then I'm just gonna blend it with a dual fiber brush, which this one is from Morphe. It's the M427. And I also like to use this brush for moisturizer as well. It's perfect because it doesn't absorb the product, so you can kind of just move it around the skin and the neck, and everything is nice and even. So the second step is going to be the moisturizer. I'm going to use L'Oreal Hydra Genius in the normal to oily skin. Just 2 pumps on the brush. So same thing, we're just going to start on the forehead, nose, chin, and then move it throughout the cheek area. It smells so good. It smells so good. So everybody says that. Okay. Perfect. Because if you try to put makeup on your skin without prepping it properly, it's not going to look good. It doesn't matter what brand of makeup you're using. If your skin isn't prepped right, it's just not, it's going to be dry in some areas or oily in some areas. So the final step for skincare, I'm going to use, this is by MAC. This is Fast Response Eye Cream. This has a little bit of caffeine powder in it. It also has a silicone finish so that the concealer will go on nice and smooth. And if she does have any puffiness or dark circles, the caffeine powder will help diminish that. So I'm just going to follow the bone structure of her eye. And you can just use your ring finger to apply that. It has the least amount of pressure of all of your fingers. So it's nice and delicate, like perfect on a delicate skin area, like your eyes. Okay, great. So I like to start with eyes first. Some people like to start with a face first, and that's fine too. I just like to do the eye makeup, and that way if I have any fallout, I can just go in and clean up and not have to remove any foundation from her skin. So my first step for eyes is going to be the paint pot. Looks like this right here, this one. And I put it right on a like a flat dish, and that way I don't have to double dip in here. And first, I'm going to take this MAC 237 brush, this one here. Like that. It's a dual fiber, just like the first brush I used. And I'm just gonna have her close and lightly blend this product into her lid, and then eventually work up to the brow. This paint pot is called Lay and Low, and it's just a really nice peachy tone. It's pretty good for anybody, any kind of like skin tone. It's just meant to more brighten the eye area, make it even, and it also has a powdery finish, so that way when you put your shadow on, it doesn't crease on your lid throughout the day. So I'm just going to continue with the other side. When you apply this product, it dries pretty quick, so you just want to make sure it's really blended. At home, I do this with my ring finger. The heat from my finger kind of melts it into my skin, but on clients I like to use a brush. It's just a little bit more sanitary. So once this is done, her eyes are pretty prepped for shadow and eyeliner. So for her shadows, I'm going to use, this is a Violet Voss palette, And the color I'm gonna use to start is it's called Transition, and that's gonna be her transition color. That's gonna go on first. So I just coated this amount on this Morphe brush. It's an M573. Just a little bit on the tip. And then I'm just gonna start, so where your brow bone is, this is gonna be your first step. You're just gonna apply first where you want most of the color. So I kind of want most of it throughout this area. And I'm just gonna attach it to the corner crease area. And I'm just gonna bring the rest of it all the way in to the corner of the eye. So you just wanna follow almost like this area through here and attach. Now when you blend, I see a lot of clients during a show and teach. They kind of do one of these and then they bring it over to the lid, but you have to be a little bit more aggressive when you blend so you can actually see the color. Okay. And you can close. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. This color would be a go-to color for any eye combination, and it's basically just gonna make the rest of the makeup look almost professional and just blended. So when you end up putting whatever tone you use on your lid, like a light color, and you use another light color under your brow, dark through here, that's what we're gonna do today. It just, this middle color we just applied kind of just makes everything blend into each other. Okay, perfect. For my next color, I'm actually gonna mix two together. So I'm gonna mix hashtag and Are You Kidding Me? And these two colors together are just gonna create a little bit more warmth than the first color that we used. And I'm gonna use that a little deeper into the crease. So we're gonna go just a little bit deeper in that crease, right in here. And I'm just starting out again where I want most of my pigment and attaching it into her eyelid. And that kind of creates a little pop when you apply the rest of the shadow, because it's a gradual fade into each color. Just like that. You can open. So see, you can kind of even see it now, how there's a little pop here, and then she's got a nice light lid, and then we're gonna finish the rest of her eye. And same thing on this side, just turn a little this way. You can do this with any color variation. I just personally like warm tones the best. I think they make, especially if you have a brown eye, it makes the brown eyes really pop if there's a little color in there. Perfect. So this eye look, I'm explaining everything and I'm stopping in between to explain what I'm doing and what I'm using, but this eye look shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. The whole look together should take you maybe 15 or 20 max. This brush I just used, by the way, it's a Morphe M506, and it's perfect for a crease. It's very small, and it's easy to blend with, as you can see. So for the lid color, I'm going to use So Jelly, which is this one here, and I'm just going to use a MAC brush. I think I've used this so much the number is worn off, but it's like a 239 brush, this one here. Nice and flat. You can use this under your brow, you can use it on your lid, and that's what I'm going to do next. I actually learned this from another makeup artist, how to get the most pigment out of your shadow. If you press your product down the highest you want to go and slide it, it'll give you a really strong finish. It's really, really pigmented. If you wanted a less pigmented look, you can kind of just like smooth it on, but I want to see the shadow. It's really beautiful, and it does have a little bit of like a pearlescent kind of finish. And I love to mix matte and like a shimmer together in different areas, and it just makes the eyes really pop.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what color I use, like it could be like a pink or purple, brown, whatever. An hour after I do my eyes, it like all the colors seem to like just fade together and they don't stay how I want them to.
Okay, and you're using a primer before? Okay, so I think what might be happening is if you are applying your colors and every time you go in you keep blending all the colors together, it's going to end up looking just like one color instead of
Like a blob.
yeah, instead of each individual area. So if you apply your colors and you are strategic with how you place them, it's going to look like it fades without blending it all together. And that way you keep all the colors separate and nice and vibrant. So I think that would be something you could try if you feel like that's what you're doing.
I definitely do that.
Yeah. If you're rushing, it's really easy to kind of forget and just like be blend happy and just keep blending. And then you kind of look like you just are wearing brown shadow all over your eye. So I don't actually have the original packaging for this, but this is vanilla pigment. This is by MAC. I love this to use.
Like so many times.
This is a staple. I heard that they were discontinuing this product, and I can still find it. So if you can still find it, grab it. I use it with literally any eye combination, and I usually use it right under the brow and right in the corner of the eye, and it's so beautiful and very finely milled, so it blends really well. And it almost looks like a liquid form, but it's powder. And I'm just going to highlight under her brow really carefully because it is a loose powder. It can fall easy. So I'm placing it where I want it first, and then I'm going to take my ring finger and just blend it that way, just down. I'm going to take what's left on the brush and just go right into the tear duct, and that'll brighten that corner of her eye as well. You can see that really pretty highlight through here. So beautiful. You do the same thing on the other side. Okay, just pat the product down. Now I like to apply it in first. I go right into the center of the brow and bring it out, and then I'll go back in. But I won't go all the way in. I just go about 3/4 of the way through, and then I just blend it downward. And same thing with whatever left on the brush, I'm gonna go into the corner. Perfect. So pretty, so pretty.
You know, it makes such a big difference.
It really does. So I'm gonna go into eyeliner. My favorite to use is the Anastasia. It's a gel liner in jet. I don't know if you can see that, but I always scoop it out, place it on my dish, and I use this small brush by Morphe. It's an M409 brush, and it's a small angle brush. It's perfect for a gel liner, and I just coat both sides of the brush.
I think this is where I have like the most trouble, is like perfecting a wing. Right?
Everybody has trouble with a wing. The easiest way to explain this, just make sure you have it nice and sharp. Okay, so I'm gonna start right in the center. I'm standing over her, so this is a little different on my end, but if you kind of tilt your chin up in the mirror and look down at yourself, you can do this pretty easy. I'm just gonna lightly pick up her eyelid and start making little digits. I'm starting in the center of her eye and bringing it out. And then I'm just gonna continue what I'm doing here and then attach it into the corner. Now how far you go out is preference. This is an everyday look, so I'm just gonna keep it nice and natural. And I'm just doing the same thing on the inner eyelid and then smoothing it out with my brush. Now don't be afraid if you mess up, because you can go right in with a Q-tip and some makeup remover and sharpen that little line. So don't feel the need to make it perfect out here.
That's what I end up doing every time.
Yes.
I use so many Q-tips.
So same thing on this side. I'm gonna return a little second. And I'm just making those small digits. And just extend it out and then just attach. That's where you're gonna get that pointy look. And as you move in, just try to get a little bit closer to your lash line so it gradually increases in size as you go toward the outside of the eye. Perfect. So now I'm going to show you with some eye makeup remover. This is L'Oreal oil-free eye makeup remover. The reason I use oil-free instead of an oil-based is because we are going to put individual lashes on her today. If I had an oil-based makeup remover and I use that on her eye area, the lashes won't stick. They won't stay because of the oil that's on there. So this is oil-free. So I'm gonna have her open and I'm just gonna clean up that wing area. I'm gonna make it nice and pointy. This is a natural wing. It's not going to be like an event wing. This is an everyday look. Same thing on this side. You can also get that like kind of cut look with the shadow too if you just continue with the Q-tip upward toward your corner of your brow.
Is that how you get that point?
Yes. Exactly. All right, so next I am going to complete her bottom liner, only I'm going to use a shadow from the palette we were just using, and I'm gonna go into Are You Kidding Me right here, and that's gonna be used with a pencil brush. This is a Morphe M431 brush. I'm gonna have you look all the way up. Just be careful when you're using a pencil brush with shadow as a liner, and that, you know, you do want to blend it, but you don't initially want to just go in and kind of be aggressive with it because the powder from the brush is going to go right into your eye. So kind of tap it on first, and then as the product goes onto her skin, I can kind of blend it without the product going everywhere. And same thing on the other side. So again, I'm tapping it first, and then I'll start to blend. So pretty. So this is everyone's favorite part, it's curling lashes. It is necessary. You know, a lot of people don't really love to do it. The best way to do it and not hurt yourself, it was just to look down, or in your case, you can tilt your chin up, look into the mirror, grab those lashes, and just squeeze. If you're doing it on someone else, just pull the lid up, have them look down, and then you can really get in there.
How long do you curl them for?
I usually pump, I press and I pump, you know, maybe like 3 to 5 times, and then they're pretty curly. You can see a difference. Same thing out here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect.
I never know when, like, I'll sit there for like 5 minutes with my thing on my eye.
You don't have to do that because you're going to put on mascara and hopefully primer. Primer is really important, and that'll help them kind of keep their shape. First, I'm going to do the primer. This is L'Oreal Voluminous. Okay, so I'm going to coat my disposable wand. Now, because I'm using disposable wands and not the ones that come with the mascara, I'm not going to get as great results as I would if I was to use these ones because these are made for this formula. So today we're going to be doing individual lashes just to enhance her own lash a little bit more. And this is applied just like a regular mascara. This is going to protect her lashes from the formula of mascara. It also conditions them. And it does add just like a millimeter of length, which isn't a lot, but it does look like a lot when you're talking about lashes. I'm gonna do the other side. Now because I'm doing this on somebody else, I'm able to kind of pull up her lid and swirl the product on, and that kind of creates a curl as well. But if you're just doing it on yourself, you can just go upward. You want to go right in with mascara from here. You don't want to wait. Don't let that primer dry. And this mascara is also Voluminous by L'Oreal. And just look down. And I'm just using the same techniques I used with the primer. And her lashes are amazing anyway, so this looks incredible. Thanks. You're welcome.
I can never get them to curl though. I don't know why. They just like to straighten out.
They look really curly right now. They're
Okay.
so pretty. Now when you're using a false lash, you don't have to go crazy perfecting your lashes. You just want to have some product on there so that it can kind of blend and stick with the false lash. Good. And I'm just going to go in to the bottom lashes and just kind of swipe through with what's left on the brush. This is another example of why I like to do eyes first, because I just got a big chunk of mascara on her face and I can remove it without taking any makeup off that would be on her face. Alright, so for her individual lashes, I am using the lashes from iKate House. I'm going to do a mix of, these are the medium and I have short here. So what's nice about these lashes is you can customize them to what you're looking for. So if you want to go a little bit longer in the center, you can. If you want to go, you know, create almost like a kitten eye where it's short, 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 and it goes long, you can do that too. So I'm going to keep these as natural as possible, and I'm going to start with a medium in the center of her eye, so you can look down. The best way to apply these is with a tweezer. And what I've done is I've had this glue, which I use Duo. I think it's the best out there. It's great. They do have latex free if you're. I like to keep the glue kind of sitting out for 10 to 15 minutes, and that way it becomes kind of tacky. So when I go and put a lash into it and I put it on her eye, it's gonna grab on. Versus if you just put the glue out and go right in with lashes, it's gonna kind of slide all over until it dries. Especially with individuals, because they can, you know, turn and kind of do their own thing until they're ready to set. So I'm going to use another medium, right on the other side. I like to go back and forth instead of just doing one eye, so I can make sure they're even, especially when you're working with individual lashes. It's easy to lose track and kind of like forget how many you've used, and then it doesn't look even on either side. Good. While I'm waiting for her lashes to dry, I'm going to go into her brow, and I'm just going to sanitize first with some alcohol. The brow pencil I'm using is by MAC. This is called Stylized, and it's like a twist up. I love these because they're really powdery, and they go on almost like you're using a shadow, but they stay on as if you're using a crayon. So how I like to do brows is I first brush up the brow, kind of get the real shape of the brow, and then I like to start by filling in the bottom center of the brow. And when I'm choosing a color, I like to go pretty close to like her root color, maybe a tad lighter and on the cooler side, so it doesn't look like her brows are red in any way. and I just make little digits along the way. I mean, she has a really nice brow to begin with. It's like really full and filled in. So I'm just kind of following what she has. But obviously on the top, I don't want it to be so harsh, so I am just gonna make little swipes versus on the bottom where I kind of went in. Same thing in the front. I leave this front part alone, especially with her. She's got like that nice full brow. So I just might fill in a little bit throughout her ends, her little tails. And then I just pull through with the spoolie. Beautiful. And same thing on the other side. If you have somebody with like an unruly hair and it's just, it goes all over the place and doesn't stay put, you can also use a brow gel, either colored or clear, and that'll help the brow hair stay in place. Just turn a little this way. It's like a perfect color for you. I went and bought a brow pencil and it was the totally wrong color, and I went to work for like a week with like, oh, it's crazy. I don't know what it was. I think it was like way too like soft or blonde for me. Like it just did not match me at all. Yeah, so a lot of times people with highlights, they try to match their lightest color, and then it doesn't do anything for your brows. Your brows are gonna frame your eye area. So if you go too light, it's not gonna do its job. And if you go too dark, people are only gonna see your brows. So try to stick with around the tone of your root color, and then just go a little like a shade lighter and make sure it's nice and cool toned. And that'll also appear a little softer. All right, so we're going to conceal next. So if you look under her eyes, she's got some darkness, which is normal. But what I'm going to do is, instead of just going in with a concealer, I'm going to highlight first. This is by MAC. This is called Prep and Prime, and it's called Bright Forecast. They only have a few colors. There's one with like a pinky undertone. That would be good if she's a little bit more pale and has like, you know, some green in there. That would counteract any dark circles. Since she isn't so pale, I'm going to use this Bright Forecast color. And then they also have a yellow corrector, which is for redness, and they have a deeper corrector for a deeper skin tone. I'm also going to mix it with, this is Tarte Creaseless Concealer, and I'm going to mix the corrector in with the concealer to help brighten under her eyes. I'm going to use I believe this is a Morphe brush. This is a flat paddle brush. It's a dual fiber also. I don't see the number on it. But I'm gonna mix these two together on my dish. And I'm gonna first apply with the brush, just where I want the product. So when you're concealing, if it's an everyday look and you really don't want to contour too much or highlight, you would just kind of place it wherever you see any discoloration. I am a big fan of contouring and highlighting, so I'm going to kind of do a little bit of that. So if you place in this pattern here, it's almost like a triangle. And then go in with a beauty blender. This is actually a beauty blender. These are amazing.
Can you use that wet or dry?
Both. Right now, this is a little damp because I just washed it. I don't like to dampen it and then go right into the product. I feel like it messes with the consistency that, you know, that's why you're buying this product, is because of what it does on your skin. And if you dampen it too much, it starts to look too like washed out, almost like it's not doing its job. Yeah. So this way, it sets everything under your eyes, nice and smooth. And
That really helps a lot.
it really helps.
Look at
a
the
lot.
difference between like dark, not dark.
Exactly. It really makes such a difference. I'm going to go in with this product right away to set. I don't want any creasing. This is Too Faced Peach Perfect Loose Powder.
That stuff smells really good too.
It really smells like peaches. And it's really finely milled, and it's got that like peachy undertone in it, which is great for under eyes. I'm going to have you look all the way up. I'm using a little Japanesque brush. The brand is Japanesque. Don't think it has a number, but it's like a little fluff brush.
I have that brush, I love it.
This is the best. And you can travel with it. It's really small.
So this gives you like the airbrush finish, right?
It does. Like a flawless look.
Like the filter.
Like the filter.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of airbrush, I will say it. A lot of brides want airbrush, a lot of people ask about airbrush. I feel like it takes like the artistry out of what you're doing, and I love to be in complete control over the product and feel how much I'm putting on, and the placement and highlighting and contouring is really difficult with an airbrush machine. So I like that look a lot, but I like to use little layers that are gonna, you know, make sure it lasts throughout the day. But I have fun creating the look. I don't want to just like spray it on. So we're going to the other side. You can see the difference between the two. It's a
Oh
big
my
difference.
god.
Okay, so just look up a little bit. So same thing over here. We're just going to go mostly along her eye area first to start, and then I'm going to bring it down around her nose and then feed it out. So this area right in here. Other than that, the rest of her skin is pretty even. I don't have to go in and like correct anything else. Good. And then I'm just patting this in. This also helps absorb any excess product that we don't want on there. And a little bit on her nose.
Ooh, I feel alive again.
And this is the Peach Perfect setting powder underneath. You want to stick with a rule of cream before powder. I don't want to go ahead and put a cream over this. It wouldn't mix well at all with the powder underneath. So being that I'm going into powder now, I'm going to stick with powder from here on. Now that we have her powder and highlight done, I'm going to start contouring her. This is going to be a light contour. This is the Park Ave Princess by Tarte, and it's a contour palette. And you can just use one color, but what I would recommend is using a color that has like a very cool undertone, almost like a muddy undertone, so it doesn't look orange on your skin when you're contouring. So I'm going to go in with this Morphe brush. It doesn't have a number, sorry. Any kind of like a blush brush would work. And I'm going to start first on her cheeks. So I'm going to start almost like where the middle of her ear begins in here, and then I'm just going to drag it toward the corner of her mouth. That is going to be like a general rule of thumb of where you want your contour to be. That's enough for every day. That's plenty. Do the same
That
thing.
makes such a big difference. Yeah.
It does. I like to twirl it just to create like a little bit of like a buffed look. And obviously you're gonna start out darker through here and just bring it toward the center, the corner of her mouth. So nothing too heavy through this area. And then I'm gonna go in to her hairline. This is how you get that Kardashian look everybody wants. Just this little bit of contour makes a big difference. And if you think about it, like when you're outside, this is where the sun would tan you first. So it does look pretty natural if you add that back in. I'm gonna go just a little bit under her jawline. If anybody has like a chin that they, you know, want to try and hide, this would do the trick.
Get rid of those emotions.
And I always
eraser.
Yeah, exactly. I always drag it down just so there's no like definitive line. And around here. Good. Perfect. Now for nose contour, I'm gonna go with that same color. This is called Princess Cut. It's the same one I was using. I'm gonna use this is by Luxie, but it's like the JD Wadey nose contour brush. It's got the one end that you can apply product with, and then the other end you can actually blend the product with. And I'm just gonna lightly contour her nose, and I'm starting on the one side and cutting across. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other. So like, I don't want to change her features too much. I just want to make them a little bit more precise. So I'm kind of following what she has already. And I like to attach it to the brow.
Fascinated with this because my nose is like a ball of putty on my face. Like I don't have a nose.
It's not, you do have a nose. But this will just make it a little bit more chiseled. You're gonna look like a deer filter from Instagram for a minute. And then if you want to create like that button shape, you can always take a little bit and just cut in the center. Okay, so you can kind of see. So 2 lines on either side, a line in the center, and then on either side of the nostrils and underneath. That'll create that button shape. And then I'm going to take the fluff side of the brush and just start blending. You're gonna see the product still there just a little bit. If you have any trouble blending or you see too much of it, you can always take the Peach Perfect powder and just reset it, and that'll help soften those lines if you do see any. This is my favorite part. This is highlighter. This is by MAC. This is Hyper Real Glow. And I think this is the pink. The sticker is not on it anymore, but I think it's the pink version. There's a gold and a pink. Clearly I like the center one, but you can use any of them. I mean, on her, she's got like a mid skin tone, so I'm gonna use the center. And, all right, so where you're gonna start your highlighter, this is your contour here. Your blush is gonna go kind of in the center, and then your highlight is gonna be right below where your eye area is. So you can kind of start swiping. This is a MAC fan brush. Kind of start swiping downward. It's gonna be right above the contour. So it'll create that like fullness through here, and then you have that depth through here. Gives you a really nice cheekbone. Super pretty. And you can smooth it out with your ring finger. Like, go back and forth a little. Woo! So pretty.
Look at that glow.
Yeah. Same thing on the other side. Now, if somebody's oily and they're afraid to have a glow, just make sure everything else is pretty matte, and this glow can still work for them. because they're not going to be oily everywhere or shiny everywhere. It's just going to be in the areas that it should be. On her nose, I'm just going to take a little on my ring finger and just bring it down the center and on the tip. Perfect. I'm going to take a little more with the fan brush, dust over the Cupid's bow, a little on the chin, and on either side of the brow. And her skin looks nice and flawless and youthful and beautiful. I love it. I never get like this. And right away I'm going to go in with a, this is a thermal spring water. It's just like a setting spray, but I want to just have everything really melt. If you've ever worked with me, you've heard me say your makeup will look better when it's melted, and it really does like melt together and just look really flawless and natural after a little bit of time. Now for blush, I'm using a Morphe palette. This is the Cool Pro palette from Morphe. I'm actually gonna mix Driven and Free together. So these two here. They have like a little shimmer in them, which is perfect because I just set her face. So it's a little, if it has any damp areas, this will just be like super pigmented when I put it on. And I'm just following the area between her contour and her highlight. This is just a really soft glow. This is an everyday look, so nothing crazy. This brush is a MAC foundation brush. This is a 159 brush. This is meant for foundation, but it's my favorite for blush. And the last step for her lips, I'm going to use, this is a Kylie Cosmetics liquid lip in Allergic to BS, that is the name of it. And I'm going to use it with the Sephora gel liner, and I think this is natural. So I've put these colors on the dish so I don't have to go right in and put the applicator on her skin. And I'm going to start with the Kylie lip color. I like to use the lip color first before the liner because I don't actually want there to be a line. I just want to kind of finish it and make it look complete with the liner, not create a whole lip line for her. Now this product it dries pretty quick, so you have to work quickly, especially when it's out of the tube. And that's why I grabbed the gloss as well, to just put in the center to keep it a little bit hydrated for her. This is the gel liner from Sephora. And I'm just really lightly following her own lip line. Like I said, I don't want to create a new lip line. I just want to follow what she's got. These are perfect for like an everyday look because the Kylie the liquid lipstick, it doesn't move at all. Like you can eat with it. It doesn't really ever budge. I would say you'd have to probably touch it up once throughout the day. Otherwise, I mean, the color just lasts. It's very good. I'm gonna take a little bit of this MAC Dazzle Glass gloss. This is Rags to Riches is the color. And I'm just gonna take that gloss and just put it right in the center. The reason I'm not putting it throughout the whole lip is because I don't want to mess with the consistency of her lipstick. I want it to last, and sometimes when you put a gloss over top, it'll almost make the lipstick kind of melt. That's why with it just being in the center, that'll only happen in the center and the rest of her lipstick will still be there. I'm gonna give her one last spray. Perfect. And I also want you guys to see the finished product. Just go from side to side. Perfect. Perfect. And that would be one option for an everyday look. So thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, you can always message me or leave a comment underneath and I will answer right back to you. And if you have any other ideas, any inspirations that you need for future classes, I also would love to hear about that too. So these classes will be coming out once a week. So you can always check back and see when the next one will be. And thank you so much for joining us. See you soon.